Welcome back to All About English. Today, we're going to talk about a problem that many English learners experience.
And it's a frustrating one.
You can understand English, you can watch videos, you can listen to conversations, you can even understand most of what people are saying.
But when someone suddenly asks you a question in English, you don't know what to say.
Exactly. The words are somewhere in your mind, but they don't seem to come out.
Have you ever experienced that?
Maybe someone asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" And you understand the question perfectly.
But then you start thinking, wait, how do I say this in English?
You know what you want to say, but you can't find the words quickly enough.
And sometimes you become nervous, you translate everything in your head, and by the time you are ready to answer, the conversation has already moved on.
If that sounds familiar, don't worry. There is nothing wrong with you.
And it doesn't mean that you're bad at English.
In fact, understanding English but struggling to speak it is extremely common.
And there are several reasons why this happens.
Today, we're going to talk about those reasons, and more importantly, what you can do about them.
We'll talk about the difference between understanding English and producing English.
We'll talk about why studying vocabulary isn't always enough.
We'll talk about translating in your head.
We'll also talk about the fear of making mistakes and the pressure to speak perfectly.
And finally, we'll give you some simple ways to practice speaking every day, even if you don't have someone to practice with.
So, if you can understand English but still struggle to speak, stay with us.
Because you may not need to learn more English, you may simply need to start using the English you already know.
And that's exactly what we're going to explore today.
So let's begin with the most important question. Why can you understand English when someone else speaks, but struggle to speak when it's your turn?
So, let's start with the first reason why you might understand English but struggle to speak it.
The first thing we need to understand is that listening and speaking are two different skills.
Even though they are connected.
Exactly. When you're listening, someone else is doing the work of producing the language.
You simply need to understand what they're saying.
Right. Your brain listens to the sounds, recognizes the words, and tries to understand the meaning.
But when you're speaking, everything changes.
Yes. Now you have to produce the language yourself.
You have to choose the words,
Build the sentence,
choose the correct grammar,
and pronounce everything clearly.
all in a very short amount of time.
Exactly. That's why speaking can feel much harder than listening.
Let's imagine you're watching an English video.
Okay?
The speaker says, "I usually go for a walk after work."
And you understand the sentence immediately.
You know what usually means, you know what go for a walk means, and you understand the whole sentence.
But then someone asks you, what do you usually do after work?
Suddenly, you have to create your own sentence.
And you might think, I know these words, but how do I put them together?
Exactly.
That's the difference between recognizing English and producing English.
What do you mean by recognizing?
Recognizing means that you can understand something when you see it or hear it.
So if I hear the word expensive, I know what it means.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean I'll remember to use expensive when I'm speaking.
Exactly.
That's an important point.
Many learners have a large passive vocabulary.
Passive vocabulary?
Yes, these are words that you understand when you read or hear them, but you don't often use them yourself.
And then there's active vocabulary.
Exactly. Active vocabulary includes words that you can easily use when speaking or writing.
So I might understand 1,000 English words, but only be comfortable using a few hundred of them.
That's completely possible.
And that's not necessarily a problem.
Not at all. It's a normal part of language learning.
So how do we move words from passive vocabulary to active vocabulary?
We need to use them.
Not just recognize them.
Exactly. You can learn a new word today, understand it perfectly, and then forget to use it tomorrow.
But if you use it several times in different situations, it becomes easier to remember.
And eventually, it becomes more automatic.
Automatic is an important word here.
Yes, when something becomes automatic, you don't have to think about every little step.
Like when you ride a bicycle.
Exactly. When you first learn to ride a bicycle, you have to think about balance, your hands, your feet, and everything else.
But after enough practice, you don't think about each movement.
You just ride.
Speaking English works in a similar way.
Absolutely. At first, you may have to think about every word.
What's the verb? What's the tense? Is this preposition correct?
And that can make speaking very slow.
But with enough practice, common phrases become automatic.
Exactly.
For example, if someone asks, "How are you?" you don't need to think for 10 seconds.
You can immediately say, "I'm good, thanks. How about you?"
That's automatic.
Right. You have heard and used that expression so many times that your brain doesn't need to build it from the beginning.
So, one reason people struggle to speak is that they know English, but their English isn't automatic yet.
That's a very good way to explain it.
They understand the language, but they haven't practiced producing it enough.
Exactly.
And that's why simply watching more English videos isn't always enough.
Listening is extremely useful, but you also need opportunities to produce English.
So if someone watches English videos for 1 hour every day, but never speaks, what happens?
Their listening skills may improve a lot.
But their speaking might improve much more slowly.
Exactly.
Because they're training one skill more than the other.
Think about going to the gym.
Okay.
If you only train your legs, you shouldn't expect your arms to become equally strong.
That's a good comparison.
Listening trains your ability to understand English. Speaking trains your ability to produce English.
So we need both.
Yes, they support each other, but they are not exactly the same skill.
Let's give our listeners a simple challenge.
Okay.
Think about what you did this morning.
Don't just think about it in your first language.
Try to say it in English.
You could say, I woke up at 7, I had breakfast, then I started working.
Maybe your grammar isn't perfect.
That's okay.
Maybe you don't know one of the words you want to use.
That's okay too. Use a simpler word or explain the idea another way.
The important thing is that you're producing English.
Exactly.
And the more often you do that, the easier it becomes.
Yes, your goal is to make English more automatic.
So, if you're someone who understands English but struggles to speak, don't think, "I know nothing."
You probably know much more than you realize.
Your job is to take the English you already understand and start using it.
Little by little, your passive vocabulary can become active vocabulary.
And the phrases you practice again and again can become automatic.
Exactly.
So remember, understanding English and speaking English are different skills.
Listening helps you understand. Speaking helps you produce.
And you need both if you want to become a confident English speaker.
In the next part, we'll talk about another major reason people understand English but can't speak it. They simply aren't practicing speaking enough.
And we'll look at some simple ways to practice, even when you don't have an English-speaking partner.
So stay with us.
So we've talked about the difference between understanding English and speaking English. Now let's talk about another important reason people struggle to speak.
They're simply not practicing speaking enough.
That sounds obvious, but it's actually a very common problem.
Yes, many learners spend a lot of time studying English, but very little time actually speaking it.
They might watch videos, listen to podcasts, read books, and study vocabulary.
All of those things are useful.
But they're not the same as speaking.
Exactly. You can understand thousands of English sentences and still feel uncomfortable when you have to create your own sentence.
So how much speaking practice does someone need?
There's no magic number. But regular practice is much more important than practicing once in a while.
So 10 minutes every day can be better than 1 hour once a week.
Definitely. Daily practice helps your brain get used to producing English.
And you don't necessarily need a conversation partner.
That's an important point. Many learners say, I can't practice speaking because I don't have anyone to speak English with.
But there are ways to practice alone.
Absolutely.
What's one simple method?
Talk to yourself.
Talk to yourself?
Yes, it might feel strange at first, but it's extremely useful.
What can you talk about?
Anything. Describe what you're doing, talk about your plans, explain what you see around you.
So I could say, I'm making breakfast, I'm going to have some coffee. After breakfast, I'm going to study.
Exactly.
That's very simple English.
And that's the point. You don't need complicated topics. You need practice producing sentences.
What if someone makes mistakes while talking to themselves?
That's completely fine. There's nobody there to judge you.
That's actually one advantage.
Exactly. You can practice without pressure. Another method is reading out loud.
Yes, reading silently helps your understanding, but reading out loud gives you speaking practice.
You can take a short article, a story, or even a few sentences and read them aloud.
Pay attention to pronunciation, rhythm, and pauses.
And repeat difficult sentences.
Exactly.
What about repeating after native speakers?
That's another excellent method. You listen to a sentence and then repeat it.
Some people call this shadowing.
Yes. Shadowing means listening to someone speak and trying to repeat their words, rhythm, and pronunciation as closely as possible.
It sounds difficult.
It can be at first, but you don't need to start with long sentences.
Start with something short?
Exactly. For example, I'm really tired today.
I'm really tired today.
Then try another sentence. I'll probably go to bed early tonight.
I'll probably go to bed early tonight.
The more you repeat natural English, the more familiar those sentence patterns become.
So you're not only learning individual words.
You're learning how words work together.
That's important because native speakers don't usually build every sentence word by word.
Right. They use familiar patterns and expressions automatically.
So learners should practice whole phrases.
Yes. Instead of only learning the word decision, learn a phrase like make a decision.
Instead of only learning interested, learn I'm interested in.
Exactly. These patterns make speaking easier.
Another useful method is answering questions aloud.
That's one of my favorites.
Let's give the listeners an example.
Okay, ask yourself, what did you do yesterday?
Then answer aloud. Yesterday, I went to work. After work, I came home and watched a movie.
Good. Then ask yourself another question.
What are you going to do tomorrow?
And answer it in English.
Tomorrow, I'm going to study in the morning, and then I'm going to meet a friend.
Exactly.
You can create 10 questions like this and answer them every day.
And you can change your answers every day.
This sounds simple enough to do for 10 minutes. That's all you need to get started. What if someone has a conversation partner?
Even better. Try to have short conversations regularly.
It doesn't have to be an hour-long conversation.
Not at all. 10 or 15 minutes can be useful if you're actively speaking.
And don't spend the whole conversation worrying about grammar.
Exactly. Focus on communicating your ideas.
What if you don't know a word?
Describe it. Ask for help. Use another word. Keep the conversation moving.
So don't stop every time you don't know something.
Right. Communication is more important than perfection.
There's another problem. Some learners practice speaking only when they feel confident.
That's a mistake.
Why?
Because confidence usually comes from practice. You don't wait until you're confident to practice. You practice until you become confident.
That's a very important idea.
Think about it like exercise. You don't become strong before you exercise. You become strong because you exercise regularly.
The same thing happens with speaking.
Exactly.
So, if you're waiting for the perfect moment to start speaking English, there may never be one.
Start now. Start small.
Even 5 minutes.
5 minutes is better than 0.
10 minutes is better than 5.
And 10 minutes every day can become a very strong habit.
Let's give our listeners a simple daily routine.
Good idea.
First, spend 2 minutes describing what you're doing.
Then spend 3 minutes answering questions about your day.
After that, spend 3 minutes repeating sentences from an English video or podcast.
And finally, spend 2 minutes talking freely about any topic you like.
That's only 10 minutes.
Exactly. 10 minutes of focused speaking practice.
And if you have more time, you can do it for 20 or 30 minutes.
Of course.
The important thing is consistency.
Yes. Don't practice for 2 hours today and then stop for 2 weeks.
Make it a habit.
Exactly.
So, if you understand English but can't speak it comfortably, ask yourself one question.
How much English am I actually speaking every day?
Not watching.
Not reading.
Not listening.
Speaking.
If the answer is almost none, then you found one possible reason for your problem.
And the good news is that it's something you can change.
You don't need to become fluent tomorrow.
You just need to speak a little more today than you did yesterday.
And then do it again tomorrow.
Exactly.
In the next part, we're going to talk about something that can make speaking even harder. Translating everything in your head.
And we'll look at how you can start thinking in English more naturally.
In the last part, we talked about practicing speaking. Now let's talk about another common problem, translating everything in your head.
This is one of the biggest reasons why speaking can feel slow and difficult.
Let's imagine someone wants to say, I need to buy some food.
Instead of thinking directly in English, they first think of the sentence in their native language.
Then they translate every word into English.
And then they check if the grammar is correct.
By the time they're ready to speak, several seconds have passed.
Exactly. And in a real conversation, several seconds can feel like a very long time.
So why do learners translate in their heads?
Because it's natural. Your first language is the language you're most comfortable using.
So when you want to express an idea, your brain naturally starts there.
Right. Especially when you're still developing your English.
The problem isn't that translation is always bad.
Exactly. Translation can be useful when you're learning a new word or trying to understand a difficult sentence.
But if you translate every sentence before speaking, it can slow you down.
And it can make speaking feel much harder than it needs to be.
Let's look at a simple example.
Okay.
Imagine someone asks you, "What did you have for breakfast?"
If you translate in your head, you might first create the answer in your native language.
Then you search for the English words.
Then you think about the grammar.
And finally you say, "I had eggs and bread."
But if you've practiced that kind of English before, you can answer almost immediately.
I had eggs and bread.
Exactly. No translation is necessary.
So the goal is to make common English phrases automatic.
Yes, the more you use English directly, the less you need to translate.
But how can we start doing that?
Start with very simple thoughts.
Simple thoughts?
Yes, you don't need to think about complicated subjects. Start with things you see and do every day.
For example, I wake up and think, I'm tired.
Exactly.
I look outside and think, it's raining.
Good.
I look at the clock and think, I'm late.
Perfect.
I go to the kitchen and think, I'm hungry.
That's exactly the kind of practice I mean.
You're connecting the situation directly to English.
Right. You're not thinking in your first language and then translating. You're seeing the situation and connecting it to an English expression.
That sounds much easier than trying to think about complicated English sentences.
It is. Start small.
Another useful technique is describing what you see.
Yes. Look around the room and describe it in English.
There is a table.
There are 2 chairs.
The window is open.
My phone is on the table.
These are very simple sentences.
But they're excellent practice.
Because you're training your brain to connect your surroundings directly to English.
Exactly.
What about when you don't know a word?
Don't immediately switch to your first language.
What should you do instead?
Try to explain the word using English you already know.
Or, tomorrow I need to wake up early.
Perfect.
Or, I have a lot to do today.
These simple sentences become familiar when you use them repeatedly.
And eventually, you don't have to translate them.
That's the goal.
But what if someone keeps translating even after practicing?
That's normal. Don't try to eliminate translation completely overnight.
So, it's a gradual process.
Exactly. Your first language has been part of your life for years. You can't expect your brain to stop using it immediately.
So, don't become frustrated.
Right. Just try to reduce translation little by little.
Maybe start with common phrases.
That's a great idea.
Phrases like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I don't know, give me a minute. What do you mean? And I'll be there soon.
Exactly. These phrases are useful because you can use them frequently.
The more you repeat them, the more automatic they become.
And once they're automatic, you don't need to build them word by word.
Let's talk about another problem. Sometimes learners know exactly what they want to say in their native language, but they don't know how to say it in English.
That's very common.
What should they do?
Don't try to translate the exact sentence.
What do you mean?
Try to communicate the same idea using simpler English.
Give us an example.
Imagine you want to explain a complicated idea, but you don't know the exact vocabulary. Instead of stopping, break the idea into smaller sentences.
So, instead of searching for one perfect sentence,
Use 3 simple sentences.
that's useful.
Remember, communication doesn't require complicated English.
Simple English can communicate complicated ideas if you use it well.
Exactly.
So, if you forget a word, don't panic. Explain it. If you don't know the perfect sentence, simplify it. And if you make a mistake,
Keep going.
I think we're seeing a pattern here.
We are.
Don't stop speaking just because your English isn't perfect.
Exactly.
Let's give our listeners a small challenge.
Okay.
For the next 5 minutes, try not to use your native language in your thoughts.
Describe what you're doing in English.
Describe what you see.
Talk about what you're going to do.
Ask yourself simple questions and answer them in English.
And if you don't know a word, explain it using other English words.
you might feel uncomfortable at first.
That's completely normal.
There's another big reason why people understand English but don't speak it.
They're afraid of making mistakes.
Yes, they know the words, they understand the grammar, but they're afraid that someone will notice their mistakes.
So instead of speaking, they stay quiet.
Or they spend 10 seconds thinking about the perfect sentence.
And sometimes the perfect sentence never comes.
Exactly. But here's the important thing. You cannot learn to speak without making mistakes.
Mistakes are part of the process.
Think about learning to ride a bicycle.
You don't become good at it without losing your balance a few times.
Speaking English is similar.
You need to try, make mistakes, receive corrections, and try again.
So, what should you do when you're not sure about a sentence?
Say it anyway.
Even if it's not perfect?
Especially if it's not perfect. You need to practice using the English you already know.
And remember, most people are not analyzing every word you say.
They're listening to understand your message.
That's an important difference.
Your goal shouldn't be perfect English. Your goal should be clear communication.
So instead of thinking, what if I make a mistake?
Think, what if I learn something?
I like that.
Every mistake gives you information. It shows you something you can improve.
So don't wait until you feel completely confident.
Start speaking, and confidence will come from practice.
Make mistakes.
Learn from them.
Try again.
And keep going.
In the next part, we'll talk about exactly how you can start speaking more and become more comfortable using English every day.
So, we've talked about the main reasons why you understand English but struggle to speak it. Now, what can you actually do about it?
The answer is simple. Start speaking more.
Even if your English isn't perfect?
Especially then. You improve by using the language.
What's the easiest way to start?
Speak to yourself for 5 or 10 minutes every day.
Talk about your day, your plans, your work, or anything around you.
Exactly. For example, say, I'm making breakfast. After that, I'm going to work.
Another good method is answering questions aloud.
Ask yourself questions like, what did I do today? Or what am I going to do tomorrow?
And answer in English instead of just thinking about the answer.
Right. You're training your brain to produce English.
What if you have a conversation partner?
Practice short conversations regularly.
You don't need to speak for an hour. Even 10 minutes can help.
And don't spend the whole conversation worrying about mistakes.
Focus on communicating your ideas.
What about listening?
Listen to natural English and repeat what you hear. This helps you learn pronunciation, rhythm, and useful expressions.
So we should listen, repeat, and then use those expressions ourselves.
Exactly.
And perhaps the most important thing is consistency.
Yes, 10 minutes every day is better than 2 hours once a month.
So don't wait until your English is perfect.
Start with the English you already know.
Speak a little every day.
Make mistakes, learn from them, and keep going.
Because the more you speak, the more natural speaking becomes.
And eventually, you'll notice something important. You're not thinking about every word anymore.
You're just speaking.
Exactly.
So let's quickly remember what we've learned today.
You may understand English, but struggle to speak because listening and speaking are different skills.
You also need regular speaking practice, not just listening and reading.
Try to stop translating every sentence in your head and start using simple English directly.
And most importantly, don't be afraid of making mistakes.
Mistakes are part of learning. The more you speak, the more confident and natural you become.
So start today. Speak for 5 or 10 minutes, even if you're alone.
Use the English you already know and keep building from there.
Thank you for listening to All About English.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more English practice.
Keep listening,
Keep speaking,
and keep improving.
See you in the next episode.